It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hello, everyone. It is Sheba again. I'm so excited. As you know, in November, I did a birthday marathon. I had, amazing women who I interviewed with. They spent my birthday with me. I got birthday presents and everything. It was amazing. And then, of course, the holidays hit and I had to, spend time with family and eat a lot of bread and food and, things like that. But we're back. This is my first marathon of interviews for the new year. So I'm very excited to meet with an amazing group of individuals who just recently became #1 international best-selling authors. So I first have to say congratulations. Come on, let me hear you. Woo, woo, woo.
All right. Thank you.
You did it. Amazing. And because, I don't know if you know, but I have twins, I had to read the book in like the wee hours, of the morning because, they were just, my hands are full. And your stories are absolutely amazing. They're empowering. In some moments I saw myself, and I was just like, wow, this is great. What you're doing is just amazing. And one thing I know about telling your story is that no one can take it from you. No one can take your experience from you. So I just encourage you to share your story as much as you possibly can. If there's book opportunities in the future, please, take advantage. So for everyone listening, I'm going to stop talking for the moment and I'm going to allow, don't worry, I'm going to allow Eric, Helena, and Tamara to share who they are, where you're from, and then we'll move from there. So who wants to go first? Eric, you
Sure.
said,
Sure. Okay, great, thanks. No, I like to, I'm living here in Portland, Oregon now, but I grew up in northern British Columbia. In the sticks, as they say. And I live up in the bush, but I like to say I'm a writer masquerading as an engineer. That's what I'm doing now.
I love that.
But no. And the story was about what it took to leave, to get out of the sticks. So I was hoping it might bring some hope to others. Trying to get out of a little place like that. Sometimes it's like trying to leave the gravity of a black hole. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. We're so excited to have you. And who's next?
I can go.
Okay, go ahead, Helena.
I'm Helena, and I live in Ontario, Canada. Originally, I come from Mexico. And so I grew up for the first 8 years in Mexico, then came to Canada and have lived here ever since. I have recently done this chapter for a book, which is very exciting. There is a writer inside me, and she has been masquerading as all kinds of people throughout my life. And so, yes, absolutely. Identify with what Eric said there. And I loved study. I have spent the last 1.5 years in personal studies, which was the first time in my life. Up to that point, it was more professional development. Now it's personal.
Wow.
And part of that is I have found the older I get, the more important it is to be my authentic self, no matter what the world thinks about that. So it's great to be at this point in my life. I wish I had been here a lot sooner, but here we are, and I'm grateful to be here.
Yes, and we're grateful to listen. What do they say? It's better late than never, So it's great now you can live the rest of your life as the best days of your life. So that's exciting as well. I know my son, his grandmother, she undertook her PhD at 60. And we're like, huh? And she did it. She finished it. So I'm always like, yes, do it. Age is nothing but a number. No.
I agree with you. Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. And Miss Tamara, share who you are, where you're from. Come on, talk to us. Talk to us.
All right. So I'm Tamara. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia. I am a woman of many hats, I think I would like to say. So I've always enjoyed writing. I feel like my words often come better through my fingers than they do through my mouth. And my chapter was about my healing journey from sexual abuse as a child. So it was, shared a little bit about how my kids helped me through that. So I'm a single mom. I have 3 teenagers. I teach elementary school. I'm also a health and fitness coach, a Zumba instructor. So I have many things on the go, and all of them helping me be my most authentic self and take care of myself physically and mentally. So.
Wow, such a courage. And speaking of which, I wanted to ask each of you, or whoever wants to, feel free to jump in. How do you define courage? How do you define it? What made you, come to that point where I need to be in this book? I'm ready to share my story with the world. What was your aha moment?
I think for me, it was, Kathy approached me about it because I knew she had been following my writing on my blog. And it was another way for me to get my message out that if you are also in a dark place, and, sometimes courage it looks like a big step, and sometimes courage also looks like a tiny step, and sometimes it looks like saying no. And right. So it's figuring out what we need to live our happiest, healthiest lives. And that's going to look different for each one of us. So,
Anyone else? Eric, what do you think?
Oh, well, I agree with a lot of that. I think courage is often the beginning of it is when you approach a situation. I also had I was living in a very abusive situation, and it's actually learning to, first of all, have the courage to listen to the correct voice that's in your mind. There's dozens of them telling you, hey, I'm scared, can't do it. Maybe that's not the smart thing, whatever. One of them's always right. And that's the one you got to find. You got to have the courage to listen and the courage to go ahead and take the high dive, even though you're scared to death, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, because you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, there's in a situation, there's no time to think." I wasn't scared. No, I think courage is actually doing those things when you have all the time in the world to think about it, and you are scared. Go ahead. Yeah, that's courage.
Yeah. And do it anyway. Right? Do it with your knees buckling. Yeah. I remember the first time I had to, speak before like a huge audience. I'm like, wait a minute. I hope they don't see my sweat. And just my heart is beating like it's about to come out my chest. Like seriously. And I'm like, do they see the mic shaking? Just all these different things. But I love what you said is listening to the right voice. That's so wow, like enlightening, honestly. Helena, share with us, what is courage to you? What does it look like to you?
Courage is doing it anyway, even when there's fear, and being willing to, break through, be the first to go. Other people may be hesitant too, especially in a crowd. So there's this tendency sometimes for everybody to look around and watch who's going to go first. So, and I've learned in the last year and a half of personal studies that although it's natural to think that the opposite of courage is fear, fear is usually present in the moment that you need courage to act. And what the acting on courage is actually is the opposite of staying the same. So conformity to the old way of doing things, conformity with everybody else who's still doing the same thing. Being courageous means you make a new decision and you go ahead and you act in that courage.
Wow. Wow. I'm like, you did not come to play. This is what I love it. I love it. I love it. That actually leads to my next question. Now, I'm trying to get the words right in my mind, even though it makes perfect sense. But could you ever, or have you ever rather, thought about what you would have missed out on if you weren't courageous? Think about like, what would your life have looked like? Have you ever had that moment with yourself, like, wow, and it's almost like a pat on the back or a cheer or a maybe tears, you know, like what would, or, you know, some of you mentioned that you have children or families or pets or whatever, you know, or just fellow colleagues, so forth and so on. Have you ever had that moment where you thought and sat and said, wow, I would have missed out on all of this if I didn't take that step, or like you said, to make that decision to choose a different path, or like Eric said, to listen to the right voice, you know? So have you ever had that moment?
Yeah, sure. Because I've often thought I would have never got out. That's
Wow.
the thing. Yeah, often that I might not still be here. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So even life, you know, the ability to live, whether it be a physical or, you know, like, is connected to your courage, you know, your quality of life as well. That's powerful.
Yeah.
And Helena, what about you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? So sorry.
Of course. No, it's fine. I was just wondering if you ever had that moment where you considered or thought or reflected about all of the things, or even if it's one thing that you would have missed out on if you didn't take that step, or if you didn't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Courage. Mm-hmm.
Most of my life would have been entirely different. Like from very young, I was asked not to continue educating myself when I had finished grade 8.
Mm-hmm.
Even grade 7, 8 were completely, if I had asked, can I just quit now? That would have been totally fine. My 2 older sisters stopped at grade 6. Wow. But even though I was being harassed in school, just like they had been, there's that stubborn part of me, the rebellious part of me that says, no, you don't decide my life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't decide my life. And when my father, especially of my parents, wanted me not to even go to high school after grade 8, the new information came to me from outside of the family that informed me, oh no, I had rights. So I acted on that with courage. I got my high school education, and then other information came to me. And this is the beautiful thing in my life that I've noticed. There's a pattern. When I need information to make a new decision, somehow it comes to me.
Wow.
So at the end of high school, it was a counselor. He said, you must continue. You have to. Really, really, really. And so it strongly encouraged me. So I went ahead and I applied. And so then I went off to university. So I have a university degree. Mm-hmm. That's not very common, or certainly wasn't in my days. That's more than 30 years ago now. So there's been lots of people after me too. But I was a bit of a pioneer. And, you know, I got married. I have children, not because that's what would have happened if I had not done anything. I had to work for that. It took a few years before we were successful in having a pregnancy and then another. So I'm also a very, very grateful mom. And the work that I've done has taught me so much. And my whole life would be so different.
Wow, that's amazing. And Tamara, come on, put the cherry on top. Put the cherry on top.
Well, I mean, I agree with everything that both of them have said, especially with the information, right? When you're ready to make that next step or that next, the opportunity often presents itself, right? If it's supposed to be there and it's acting on that opportunity. The one thing, like, I mean, I can think of a million things, like even becoming a Zumba instructor was so outside my comfort zone. I'm not a dancer, you know, and just taking that step. But the piece of my life right now that I know would be so different if I hadn't gone through the journey that I did is my relationship with my kids. Mm-hmm. And I, you know, as a single mom, I co-parent with their dad, and you know, I only see them half the time, and we are so close. And I think that me getting to a place where I could heal myself to be the best mom for them. When I left my relationship, I honestly I thought that all they needed me for was groceries and activities and laundry and cook meals. Like, that's how little I valued myself. And now to be at a place where I'm like, okay, they do need me, and how much growth I've done. And for me, it's every day just being so incredibly thankful for how I write it in my journal almost every morning, how I'm grateful for the relationship with my kids.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love that. Wow. So when did you know, and I don't know if I answered, but when did you know you needed to be a part of this book? Like, I need to maximize this opportunity. What was there anything that was happening, or was it just an opportunity presented, through Kathy? When did you know now is the time for me to do this?
I think for me, I was already writing about healing. Okay. So it just seemed to fit so well into what was already happening. And so it was kind of going from a blog platform into the book platform. And I've always wanted to write my own book. So it just felt like a natural
progression. Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyone else?
Yeah. No. Well, Kathy approached me, and like I said, I'm a writer masquerading as an engineer. So I've always wanted to do it. I've always had a natural knack, and it was something that unfortunately, as children, I was good at a lot of things. Okay, and writing was one that I was told, you'll never make any money at that. So, so you go on with other things you're good at. And so I've always been looking for an opportunity to try to get back into that. And when Kathy mentioned this, I definitely wanted to be part of it. I definitely wanted to pin that particular part of my story, just in that there's a bit of a healing that comes from pinning a story when you're an older person. I hadn't realized, so I went to write it down, that a great deal of the detail, that a lot of it's not even in. I mean, how much can you say in 2,000 words? But a great deal of the detail I had chosen to tuck away and never think about. And it's good. It's good to go ahead and write it, say it, do it. And it's a healing process. So for all those reasons, I knew I had to dive in, and I'm hoping it leads to a great many more writing opportunities, because it's a very enriching thing. So
yes, I really enjoyed it. I was like, I feel like I'm reading, like, it's like poetic, and it was amazing. It was amazing. It made me being up at 3:00 in the morning worth it, I'd say.
You're very kind.
Like, because that's it. About milk, and I'm like, you just had milk. Anyway, right? So they're going to be 18 months soon. So everything, milk's on quiet reading. But yes, it was an amazing, empowering, story. And Helena, what was your moment when you said, I needed to do this now?
Yes, Kathy had approached me, not once, not twice, but the third time. The third time, she just made it so easy to make a decision. And embracing courage, the title of the book is Embrace Courage. It fits quite well with the idea of empowerment. And empowerment is a word that has resonated with me for a very long time. It's what I did for myself when I made those decisions that took courage. And there's nothing else that I can think of that's more gratifying than to inspire someone else to step up and take new action that takes courage, that then empowers them more. If you're in a place where your decisions and your right to decisions is limited, then there's a part of me, that the fight in me, that wants to come out and say, no, this is not how it's going to stay. The status quo is not okay. So let's make a change here. Let's make a change. And if I can inspire anyone, then that is wonderful.
Yes, this is exciting. Well, I hope that, Tamara's pretty much a expert, and she's a powerhouse when it comes to writing, and everyone else is, at their different stages, which is Eric is hiding under a rock. No, I'm joking. But I'm hoping, like you said, this would be more opportunities in the future. So what could we expect? What could we expect in 30 seconds? What can we expect from you next moving forward?
I'm gonna pin the entire story, actually. I also have a science fiction that's been on the back burner a long time that has nothing to do with any of this, of course, but it's still it's exciting to me. So yeah.
Yes. Wow, yeah. I look forward to it. I'm gonna hold you to it, Eric, too. I'm gonna hold you to it. Tamara,
I actually have another chapter in the next book, Midlife Awakenings. So so I'll be there, and then I'm going to because I'm a school teacher, so my time is very limited to work on some writing over the summer.
Got it. Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Miss Helena?
Yes, I plan to do more writing too. I don't quite know exactly what I'll write because I feel like I've written my story for my life, even though it's snapshots. It's only one chapter. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time writing the story about me specifically. What I would love to write more on is topics like empowerment and different perspectives on how life has been viewed for so long, for so many. So, upsetting the apple cart a little bit more and, giving people more options in perspective that will then help them have greater power in their own lives.
Wow, this is I just feel light. I feel refreshed. I love this energy. I love it. I'm so grateful. In closing, when you were speaking, I thought about something that I heard this past weekend. And what it said was that when the student is ready, that's when the teacher shows up. And I had an interview a few months ago when someone actually pushed that a little bit. And she said, I also believe that when the teacher is ready, the student shows up. And I was like, wait a minute. I was so excited. So this really, in my opinion, it really, shows or ties into everyone's story. Like I was ready when the student and or the teacher showed up. So I just wanted to say that I thank you all for showing up here, for embracing courage to be here. You never met me before. That's courageous. She's like, I don't know what to expect, girl. But yeah, so it's great. Again, congratulations. I hope that your book continues to touch people and let it reach the nations. Let it go as far as the East is from the West. And I hope that it just inspires, even if it's one person, to make that step. To listen to the right voice, to just do it afraid. And so again, thank you so much. And I'm wishing you all the absolute best. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, take care. And there you have it, everyone. Some of the amazing authors who wrote their stories in the book Embracing Courage. Look out for the next interview. We have more coming soon.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.